Good afternoon. This is Talking Trade Live with On the Tools. My name's Andy, and I'm going to be your host for the next half hour or so. If you haven't tuned in before, where have you been? This is the show that all trades come on. We talk everything from apprenticeships, who's the best trade, training, mental health. We have covered the lot, and we've got some brilliant stuff coming up. Today, we are talking with three very good bricklayers, and we're talking about training and apprenticeships with the focus on bricklayers, because obviously without them we would have no houses. Now, in no particular order, we've got Katie, Richie and Beth. Now, I'd like to thank, before we do anything, thank our friends at Jewsons. As you can see, they're sponsoring this show. From personal experience, they always have a brick expert in the branch, and they cater for pretty much every brick, most of which is available next day delivery. We are going to talk about that in a bit, about brick matches, because when you're toothing in, as these three will very well know, if you don't have a match, it can look like a dog's dinner. Katie, let's start with you. Apprenticeships and training. We were just talking on our read at the Brick Development Agency, apparently record numbers of apprenticeships, but in your world, you're not really up with that, are you?
Yeah, no, because I've got a few young ones that have been talking to me and asking me, and when I spoke to a local company, they said that hardly any housing developers, including themselves, are not taking on now till next year, as there's no apprenticeships going. Obviously, not a lot of colleges are open properly, and everybody's really slow on work. So I don't know where they're getting it from.
Beth, you're the same as well. You think that's absolute tosh?
Yeah, I know a few companies that have dropped the first and second. It's on in an uncertain time. It's uncertain. It's not there, so for apprentices, but it's the case at the minute.
Now, Richie, how is it up in Scotland, my friend? Is there lots of apprentices starting soon, or is that again a bit of a myth?
No, actually, up here we're doing really well with apprentices. I think the CITB, who's the kind of governing body up here regarding apprentices, have really done well over the lockdown and things like that. They keep their apprentices on board and keep them from just giving up. And I was in last week because my own apprentice had his skills test last week, which he passed. And I was talking to some of the guys, and they were saying, no, they still have huge numbers of apprentices and young people looking to get into the trade.
Well, that's great news.
Are they looking into it, or are they starting?
No, it's fantastic. I was extremely surprised when I chatting to the guys, the volume of young people who are still keen to get on and get apprentices.
Well, looking at it, it's not the only thing we could follow and copy off Scotland. I mean, the way you guys have handled COVID, that's another story, seems to have been a lot better than that funny looking bloke with, looks like Wurzel Gummidge. What's his name? Boris Johnson, that's it. Katie, going back to your apprenticeship, being brutally honest, because obviously I know you quite well, what was your thoughts on it? Because it needs a little bit updating and changing, doesn't it?
Yeah. I obviously think everybody knows anyway, I've got ADHD. So it's like they don't tend to cater for you to learn in a different way. And if you don't learn in the CITB way, then you're kind of never going to learn. And then when it came to my assessments, and this, I don't know if I should, this is really brutal, but you'd come in and your assessor would go, right, this is the question, this is the answer, I'm going to record it, asking you the question, and then you're going to give me the answer. And in the end, I had to ring up. I was like, we're not learning anything. We're just being given the answer. And that's how a lot of people have gone through. And I think it's awful.
Beth, you're obviously probably out of all of us the most recent qualified. What's your views on the apprenticeship? I know you flew through it, but is there any bits in it you would change or sort of look at making a bit more up to date?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time the things you learn is more based for more independent brick on site, and went on site, so you learn everything, but it's not things that learn different things all the time with regulations and things like that. But in college, that's never updated, so you're learning things that are never, so to speak, unless you was more doing your own kind of work and things like that. It's all kind of old and outdated, in my opinion.
Well, if you've just joined us, we're talking about, we've got three brilliant brickies on, all from different parts of the country. We're talking about training, apprenticeships, brick matches, shortage, or according to the Brick Development Agency, they're back to full capacity. Record numbers are being produced, which is good. Bricklaying with Steve and Alex. Welcome, guys. You've obviously been on the show before. Katie, interesting point. Alex, when he was at college, was the only apprentice. The rest were just booted off other courses. Are we not getting enough brickies into the industry? Or according to the BDA, we got record numbers again. Is that tosh?
Yeah, I think it must depend on where you live then, because when I first applied, there was a lot of us, but now I rang up again to the same company who I did mine with, and they've said word for word, we are not taking any on until next year. So imagine, well, I don't know how many you don't take on each term, but if you've done that across the whole of the country, there would be record-breaking numbers. So what's true and what's not? Because word of the mouth from other people is that it's not true, but then the people that are sending out statements, it is.
Well, obviously, we're not just broadcasting to Britain. We've got people all over the world: Philippines, Israel, America, Australia. Gerald Peterson from Winnipeg, Canada. You lucky man. If I had a choice, I'd be living out in Canada. Great place. Could you let us know your thoughts on bricklaying apprenticeships and training over there? Is it good enough? Because over here, it's a little bit of a shambles, to put it mildly. Richie, Scotland, a few steps ahead of us down south, aren't you, mate? It seems your apprenticeships are going well. There's good numbers doing it. We could take a lesson out of your book, couldn't we?
Absolutely. I can go back to when I done my apprenticeship 10 plus years ago. There was only really two colleges, Glasgow and Edinburgh, that you go to, you'd be allocated to. But now there's Stirling, Aberdeen, there's a lot more colleges are taking on board the training aspects of what's required. So with the higher numbers, it helps that you don't need to go, say you stay in Stirling and you have to go through to Glasgow and Edinburgh. If your college is more local, it'll help you make the decision rather to go. It makes it easier.
Beth, when you finished your college, and you obviously had the newer apprentices coming through, did you see big numbers or did you see numbers quite low?
There was bridge for like the new lot that was coming in, but it's like there was no walking around thinking, Jesus, look how many people started turning up and wanting to be bricklayers and joining the construction college. It was nothing out of the ordinary, but then a lot of the time those people don't stay, so do they update it once those people aren't there anymore?
Well, it's not just bricklaying. Obviously, we talked about apprenticeships before and training. There's a lot of other sectors, a lot of other trades which are suffering as well. Steve and Alex, yeah, I was just about to say that. You must be able to read my mind, you guys. Bring back the youth training scheme from the 80s. It was a great stepping stone into the trade. Who is the oldest today? I would say, I was going to ask if anyone remembers that, but looking at you guys and knowing you, no one's as old as me, so you won't. Katie, from what you've heard of how it was done years ago, do you think that's something we need to go back to? Because this day and age, it's all a bit fluffy and shitty, isn't it?
Is that the one where you had to stay at college until you'd done all of your training? And then
it was, something called the YTS Youth Training Scheme. Yeah.
I think it should be like that unless your company is going to I think it should go as in all your apprentices go together on a plot, because I've noticed a lot of gangs will take away that apprentice and then they'll just use them as free labour. And then when they get to college, they'll either slip behind because they're not doing the same as other people and they're not managing to keep up with the skill, or they're just passing them through, skin of the teeth, getting the funding for them, and then just going, all right, then cheers, you passed in a bit, thanks for the bonus. And they're not really training them up to the highest standard that they could, which is sad.
Well, we sadly lost Beth. Rumour has it she's got to get up to plate before the end of the day because the chippies are in tomorrow, pitching the roof. But hopefully she'll be back in a minute. Richie, your thoughts? We've got a lot of people saying this. Aaron Varga, he's had several apprentices, over time. All have been lazy, not interested in learning, but expect a decent wage. It's hard finding a good one. He's given up. It's very true, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Sorry, go on, Richie.
No, you're right enough. There is an aspect that if you're coming from school, you're coming from high school straight onto a building site, it is daunting. It's you don't know if you're kind of out of place and things like that, and that sometimes scares off kids and things like that, trying to get working. But I can only go with my experience that I've only had one apprentice, and he's if I say he's the perfect one, I wouldn't know, but he's been superb his whole apprenticeship. With his timekeeping, with his quality of work, college work, and things like that. But at other times there was 13 in his class to start with, and out of that 13, only 3 sat their tests last week.
Wow.
So whether that is the mentality of person doing the apprenticeship or the company, that kind of has to get taken into play.
Yeah, and I think one thing we need to look at, Katie, are the companies, because YTS years ago, £27.50 a week. Sadly, apprenticeships aren't on much more than that now. So how are you going to survive on £3.70 an hour? And in your eyes, it's not enough. Would you agree?
No, I had when I first started mine, I think I would never work out if I was 26 or 27, which is kind of good. I'll go with the age. And I was on £5 an hour and I had my own place. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, okay, how are we going to do this? And luckily, I ended up, my boss helped me out because I worked really hard and he sorted me out at the end of every week. Sorry, but my cough, not corona. But, and it's like other people like me, if you've not got that help, it really puts you off an adult apprenticeship. And I kind of think, going back to the young apprentices, they grow up not the expected that they deserve this qualification, but they said, but like, well, I'm 16, I can do what I want. If I don't pass this time, I can go on to something else. Whereas you've got an apprenticeship that's a little older, who need that, so to say, like I did, or actually want it, they tend to put more dedication into it. And then
another thing I'd like to say, Richie, it's a really good point. So I'm just looking who said it. Kim Teasdale. All these youngsters need inspiring tutors. Is that a problem sort of across the border and down here? Because some people go in. How many people finish the course? Not as many as started. Do they just get bored?
I don't know if it's that. You have to take in play a lot of things. But yes, there is some tutors, not all of them, there is some tutors who it is just a job for them. It is just a job. And whether they become the guy who starts the apprenticeship, becomes a bricklayer at the end of it, they don't really care about. They're just in. But there is tutors who will go that extra mile, try and help apprentices and help.
See, I had the different
help the guys out, do whatever they can. It's maybe a small majority, but tutors who, they're just there to make up the numbers sometimes.
Katie?
See, I had a really amazing.
And sometimes,
if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have got through, because obviously I've got dyslexia and stuff. My assessor, worst guy ever, came to my level 3. I got partway through my level 3, and then we found out that the English was in level 5. Hello, I could probably just about spell break, So when it got to him, I asked for some help, and he was just like, I said to him, "Can you change the terminology of the questioning for me so I can do it?" And he went, "Oh no, I've not got time." Well, I've not got time to do level 3 then, mate. If you're not going to help me, then I'm not going to be able to do it. And then when I took it to the company, I said, I can't do my level 3. It's not that I don't want to do it. I can't physically, like, whatever educationally wise, can't do it. And they was like, okay, well, you know what that means then, don't you? And I was like, what? They was like, we'll have to let you go. I was like, okay. So they signed me a notice and just off I went. So it's, if I had the correct tutor, but I didn't have the correct assessor. So I had it there. I can't thank my MVQ, my level 2 teacher enough for getting me through. But it's just the fact that the assessor just weren't interested. He did not want to cater my education needs at all.
Well, I think this is something that we often miss talking about is, listen, not many of us are going to be on the tools all our lives because of, you know, your back problems, your knee problems, all the rest of it, getting up early, all the long hours. You can actually earn decent money going into training and stuff. Richie, do you think we should be promoting this more in the industry, that if you get to your 40s, 50s, I know plenty of people that have done it and they're loving it. Do you think we need to push it more?
You should just push everybody to my academy if you want. But I think when you're at college and you see somebody, a tutor, the young kids instantly think, yeah, you must be a crap bricklayer. Like, you never made it, that's why you're a tutor. And I think it's a fine line between that, of what everybody thinks, oh yeah, look, you can't bricklay, so now you're a tutor. But now, and it doesn't pay as well as bricklaying.
Well, talking of pay, Australia have got the same problem as us. Thanks, Martin Davis. G'day, as they say down there. He's basically supported what we're saying. There isn't a great deal of interest in young people leaving school and getting a trade. God, that rings true. They work at Mackie D's or KFC and get good money. They don't have to think for themselves. There's always someone there to tell them what to do. We need to get a lot more inspiration and drive from older tradies. And Richie, this is what you're saying. It's the same with the teachers, and also getting across to kids. Let's inspire them, not put them off.
Definitely. If the tutor's not showing any kind of push at all, it's gonna go into the apprentice. If they feel the tutor's not really caring, just got on with it, they're not really going to be inspired to try get on with it either. Like it was they're saying about your tutor and things like that. Katie, I was guilty when I was an apprentice of telling my tutor, what kind of bricklayer were you if you're having to work here? So that never went down very well. But I know. But
that's quite.
I think the thing is, as well,
what I said.
it now looks like
yeah, it was worse.
this is everywhere. Germany, R.M. Siegler, I hope I pronounced your name right. Germany, it's the same problem. So, Jesus, worst case scenario, Katie, the whole world's going to grind to a halt because no one can bloody run the line anymore.
No.
No, they don't. And I've noticed a lot of people, even if they don't lay, I know you should not, some people go, don't lay right to the line. Fair enough. You touch the line. You don't touch the line, but you know what you mean. And then you'll see them and they'll put it in, it'll be tipped or it'll be like, and I just think there's a line there for a reason. Like, you don't win a race and then get to the finish line, win it, and then go, yeah, no, you didn't win. Well, yeah, you did, because that's why the line's there. Like, just use the blooming line. God.
Well, I'd like to thank Emma Cook. She sent a couple of messages in. She works for the CITB. She works in the construction apprenticeships there. They're always, this is interesting, they're always overrun with student applications. It's getting the employer, which is the problem. Most of our dropouts are due to functional skills and employment issues. Richie, your thoughts on that, mate?
It could be the case. Yeah, definitely.
Because CITB, as we all know, listen, there's good press, bad press. Everyone's got their own opinion on our friends at the CITB. And I've got to say, it would be nice, Emma, yourself or a colleague, to come on my show one week, because, listen, you do get a lot of bad press, but I never hear you guys sort of coming back and defending yourselves, because like anything, there's two sides to every story. Katie, CITB are saying that they've basically got a lot of people wanting to do it, but it's getting them put somewhere. What do you reckon?
Well, I think I think there is a shortage of places to go, but then if you've got people willing to open places for them people, then I think people need to be putting their financial investments into the correct places instead of investing into all these little projects and going, it's going to work, and then not actually sit down and look into what it is that you can do to put these apprentices into somewhere. Because if you've not got the places, then create them.
Well, the great news is Emma Cook from CITB says she's more than happy to come on the show. What I would love to do, Jack, who is head of On the Tools, sitting in the background watching away, be great if we could have a show with maybe Richie and Katie again, having gone through their apprenticeships, and Emma from CITB. I know that would generate a lot of interest, and also give the CITB a chance to say what they want to say, because it seems to be one-way traffic. I worked with CITB quite closely when I was on the board at the FMB, and let's see what they've got to say. So, right, moving on. We've been talking about apprenticeships and training. We've got our views on that. Emma from CITB has sort of said we've got people coming through. We can't actually place them anywhere. Let's go back to money, Richie. Apologies, I don't know Scotland as well as down here. We're on apprenticeship. I say we, God, me an apprentice, looking at my age. Apprenticeships are on £3.70 an hour. What are you up on in Scotland, and do you think it's enough?
Oh, aye, definitely. Compared to what I got when I was an apprentice, it's wow. And it's a good system to use the CITB with it. That every year it increases substantially, and it works in well with how the level the apprentice is at. That he's near enough, getting to the point where he's been able to make his own money. He's covering his time. You're not constantly, the company's not constantly out of pocket, just paying this the apprentice. He's actually, the way the system works is he's actually, covering his own time, which is which works well for the company and the apprentice. Knows that the money that he's making, that he's actually earned, rather than just getting a wage every week.
I tell you, Katie, let's have a bit of fun, because time's, as usual on this show, flying on. We've only got about 10 minutes left. What is the worst job you've seen? Because obviously we're lucky to have Jewson as a sponsor today, and fair play, they do a good brick matching service. If you take in a couple that you've knocked out of a house and you want to match them, and then obviously it looks, you tooth it in properly rather than run a bloody grinder down it and stick them on with blue tack. What's the worst job you've seen, and why? With being a bricklayer, I want to hear this.
Can I pick two?
Pick two, please do. Richie, give it some thought. You're after Katie, mate. But Katie, what is the worst one or two you've seen? Is it because the brick matching's appalling, or craftsmanship is dire?
It was joints that wide you could park your bike in it. Like a bay window, and the joints around it, you could put your thumb in it. And it had already been taken out and put back in with your thumb in it. And then washed down with brick acid. So that was one of my most favourite jobs I've ever seen. And then the one was a corbel that had not been built right, and you could see it cracked all the way off down the corner of the house, and all you could think was, it's going to end up on your car one day, mate.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
they're the worst two, and I'm just waiting to see something pop up in a few years about somebody's car being smashed up with a corbel.
Richie, what's the worst job you've seen? Is it lack of effort in matching bricks, or is it just, again, craftsmanship being dire?
Oh, you get some wild ones up here, tell you, from just basic stuff like not putting enough wall ties in, not building the brick the proper way, back to front, brick matching. You'll constantly see garage conversions where they've bricked up so far the garage, and it's the brick have just, you may as well just change the colour all the same. But yeah, you get some wild things up here, like.
Oh no, there's one. There's a wall near around the corner from where I live, and I don't even know how it's still there. So it's like obviously like a brick wall, but they've put roof tiles on the top, like as a border, but
creasing tiles, I think they call it. When I learned, I don't know if it's still the same terminology.
So instead of brick on edge, it's just bricks and then roof tiles all the way across, and then
That's
all the way
creative.
across the top of the pillar. And I just thought, that was a Sunday job at home when you were bored then. It's
Absolute
pretty awful.
pet hate is mortar joints, Katie. Honestly, mortar joints you could point with a cola can. Honestly, oh, it drives me
I don't
crazy.
like them.
Crazy.
But
Looking up a
Richie,
building.
why do you see that, mate? Why do you see it? Is it just because the training's been dire? Because, you know, if you're
You get
trained like
past,
you
doesn't
guys, you
it?
shouldn't be doing that crap.
It's
Oh,
laziness, and
definitely.
then somebody passes it.
Sometimes it is that. Just lack of care. You know, just sometimes it's and some the quality's no involved. It's more just how fast you can get the wall built and paid for and away off the job, instead of taking that extra time to build it properly.
Well, I always look back at the older houses, Victorian houses, and not all the time, but often it was the same trade that did everything from brickwork, stuck the roof on, tiled it up, got inside, plastered it, laid the floor. And though that, you look at the stock bricks, they're my favourite brick. I love working with them. Birds beak it, it looks stunning. But
That's what I'm working
that's
on at
what
the
it
minute.
looks great. Yeah, on your chimney, Katie, and but brick to me, done properly, an old reclaimed brick is a work of quality, Katie, because you look at some of the new build flank walls. We were talking about this before we came on air. A certain developer had it hired out as a climbing wall for kids.
Abseil down them.
Yeah, no, the climbing walls are bad, aren't they? Come on, kids, I'll take you out.
It shouldn't be like that, though. You're buying a new house, you at least want it flat and level and purposely lined up and all the rest of it.
That annoys me. That does. A lot of people go and pay $350,000 or even $500,000 in some cases, and the brickwork's diabolical. I was sat around my friend's house the other day, and I looked at a garage. I was like, "Wow!" And she was like, "What?" I was like, "Did they not hear of like top and tail in there?" No, because it was like all the way from the bottom to the top, just chunks, all the way down. I was just like, "Come on!" Like, she's like, "Oh, it's probably an apprentice." I was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa!" Like, it probably wasn't. It was probably somebody wanted to go really fast and go to the pub on a Friday. So,
well, Katie, you're going to smile, I guarantee, because we were talking about a national developer, and straight away there's a regular viewer, Andy Foster, has just put in the comments who he thinks it is, with a question mark, and guess what? He's got it spot on. I won't mention it, but if you want to see who it may be, have a look at Andy Foster's comment. We've just got one from the States. I want to quickly read this out. Martin Taylor's a brickie in the US, and he says, what it is here, it's the builders saying, hurry, 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 and not wanting to pay. So they're in such a hurry to get things done, the quality suffers. I like this point. I'm proud of my work, which is why I only do repairs now, because I couldn't stand the way quality was going downhill. Not even the developers cared as long as it was done. Katie, it's the same here, and thanks, Martin, but I think this is a worldwide problem, mate. Katie, would you agree?
100%. I didn't lose 3 jobs last year. I came away from the RHS, did the RHS with Rupert Keys, brilliant guy. And then I started working for 3 different companies, so to say. And every single one of them gave me so much slack for being not slow. I wasn't slow, I was correct. So you can either come over, it's quality over quantity, isn't it? So I get a lot of slack for going slow, but put your level up my work. Do you know what I mean? And I'd rather take a cut on my day, right, to be able to make sure that my work's right. So now I've not been on a site for God knows how long, like probably 6 months. Well, no, I don't think anybody's been on site, but now I won't work there. I cannot work there because one, I can't work to that level of shit. And then like, don't know if I can say that. And then I can't feel bad for building a house of that quality, not that I would, and letting it know that somebody else has brought it, and then you lot have just messed that house up for somebody for the rest of their lives.
Richie, do you think there's a lot of pressure from the big developers on brickie? Well, not just brickies, but all trades. As Kim Teasdale says, we need to have less pace, more speed. That's what they're pushing. They're pushing. Get it done. And then you look at these new estates that are being built, and it looks like somebody from primary school's done it. Do we need a bit more care, mate? Slow down and actually take some pride in your work?
Well, I don't work for a lot of, well, certainly not that private developer or house builder anyway. But the main contractors I work for, they have been really good. They allow me to become part of the schedule organising and give me the opportunity to tell them this is how long it's going to take to do this to this quality. Any if you want us to go faster, the quality dips, and I'll not accept that. So that's weird. But I know a lot of main contractors will say that's your schedule, stick to it. And if that means throwing up hundreds of courses of facing brick, they just accept it because of the schedule. So it's good that we're given the opportunity to tell them this is what it's going to take, rather than just accept it just because you need the work to say, okay, like, we'll see what we can do, and having to throw hundreds of bricklayers at jobs and projects, and just going wild and getting away from you.
I've got to say, listen, we're running out of time, but I do want to say one thing. This goes back to what we keep saying every week, no matter what the topic is. Tradespeople need to be involved more. Architects, surveyors saying, right, Richie, there's 2 weeks work. Then you go, what are you talking about? It's at least a month. That's another topic for another week.
Exactly.
Started on that.
Yeah.
Just to finish with, A, he's got a great name, and B, it's a sad point of the modern day apprenticeships. Wazzy Longstaff, his son is on an apprenticeship. Oh, his comments gone. Hang on. His son is on an apprenticeship on site doing bricklaying. Year 2. Listen to this. He's picked up his trowel for the 3rd time. Most time he's labouring. It's not just him. A few of his friends are in the same boat. To finish the show, Katie, that's shit, isn't it? We're not going to get any decent bricklayers with that sort of stuff going on.
Really brutal. I was in the 3rd month of my apprenticeship, and I said, I've always said not here to I'll learn how to labour because we need to learn how to labour, but I will not spend 3 years labouring. And when the area manager came out one day, I pulled him to the side and said, look, I'm not here to free labour. So I'm not here. I actually said, I'm not here to tickle bricks, mate. So I'm here to be a good bricklayer. And if you're not going to give me that opportunity, then I'm going to go somewhere else. And from that moment, I was on the trial straight away. It's just sometimes you've just got to speak up. And if you don't speak up, then you're not going to be heard. But you've just got to do it in a cleverly way so you don't get in trouble for it.
Richie, it's sad, isn't it? Listen, mate, we want more kids to come in. But, kids watching this now with A-levels and leaving exam results in a few weeks ago, they want to be on the trowel, not lumping blocks and bricks onto a site. So do you think we need to rip the apprenticeships up and start again?
Yeah.
Rearrange it more than do it up all together. Just tweak it. That's all it needs, I think. It's good. There's a good basis there. We just need to kind of change a lot of mindsets, really. I was lucky that when I did my apprenticeship, I was on the trail for day one, but there was guys in my class who weren't, and you could see the quality of work wasn't there, or the speed, or the even the keenness. Even when the only time they got on the trail was at college, and you could tell these guys were the ones that weren't going to stick it because when they were at college, they couldn't keep up. They didn't know their way about it. To hold a brick, to hold a trowel, and then going back to site, had a shovel, a brush. It wasn't any use. So a tweak, I would say, just a mindset change is what's required. Well,
we have run out of time, sadly, because there's a lot of really good comments coming in. Sorry, Jason Morrison, Jimmy Peacock, Kim again, Jacob Fuller. We've run out of time. I think one thing we've got from today's show is we've got to, I think, as Richie rightly says, we've got to tweak. We've got to amend what's there. Emma Cook from CITB, great that she's going to come on, or a colleague of hers, because when I was at the FMB on the board, it was some old suits writing apprenticeships, which some hadn't even ever been on the trail for bricklaying, for example. And I think, the likes of Richie and Katie and other trades on the trowel getting involved is only going to help the apprenticeship and encourage more kids. That's it for this week. Thanks again to Jewson for sponsoring it. We've been talking about bricks. Obviously, they've got a good brick matching service in each branch, and I can personally vouch for that. All the, well, not all, but a lot of the molds are all back up and running, which is great. So thanks to Jewson. We've just had a message in the background that poor old Katie, sorry, not Katie, Beth, who was on and disappeared, she has got to get up to plate by the end of the day. So Richie and Katie, if you can start your van, I'm going to come and join in as well. Otherwise, she ain't getting paid. Have a good week, everyone. I'm off to get an ice cream because it's nice and sunny down here. Toodaloo.
See you later.